Down 6-0 in St. Louis, Dodgers came back to win 7-6 last night. The Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, back on the program. Good to have you, Coach. How are you?
DP, what's happening, man? You doing good?
I'm doing okay. I just saw where the 2018 Red Stitch Cabernet got 93 points from Wine Spectator. That's Dave's wine. So congratulations once again on a new batch.
Yeah. So no, it was a good batch. 18 was a great year, and you had a quick story as we got Trace Thompson with us now. So Clay, his brother, has his own label. And so I told him we got to go side by side and compare. It's a Diamond and Key. It was Nolan Arenado, ironically, and Clay together, and myself with Red Stitch. So we got to do a little side by side, and we might have to send you a bottle of the Diamond and Key and see which one wins out.
You're down 6-0 last night. What's your role when you're down 6-0?
I think at that point in time, it was trying to get Gallegos into the game. And, it's one of those things where we're down 6-0. I thought we waited Wainwright out, got him out of the game. He put up zeros. We got to the pen who we knew was taxed. And if we could just chip away and get Gallegos in the game, at least there's a chance to salvage a series. And then at that point in time, if we could just chip away, get into the pen who was taxed, we might be able to steal one from him. So that's kind of what we were thinking.
Are you a rah-rah guy when you're down 6-0?
You know what? I'm more of a let's keep not giving at-bats away guy. I celebrate the victories, but in that moment, I'm more trying to keep guys focused on not just, looking at the next day and try to make something good out of today. So that's more my mindset.
When's the last time you purposely got thrown out of a game?
Purposely, it was this year, and a lot of time it was this year. I don't recall exactly what happened. It was more of I didn't agree with the zone. Players were, bitching about it, and so I would rather get tossed than the player, but I don't need to get tossed to spark our guys. It was more of I would rather be the martyr, essentially.
We're headed towards this strike zone, automated strike zone, right?
Yep, I think so.
What's the downside for you?
The downside is most of the hitters complain about it. I do like the human element of it behind the plate. The downside is a guy like Wainwright with his curveball or a Clayton Kershaw with his curveball. Hitters are going to be very dissatisfied when they see that automated strike zone with guys that can throw a curveball like that.
Meaning?
It's just going to be the optics of it, the way the catcher catches the ball at the dirt when they go north to south, 12-6 breaking ball, that it clips part of the plate. And it's going to surprise a lot of hitters.
But what you're saying is you still like the human element. If they got a call wrong and it was the human element, or you got it right with the automated strike zone.
Yeah, I do. I that's kind of my stance on things, and that's part of it. Learning umpire strike zones and the pitchers kind of following it, the hitters adjusting to it. And they're not perfect, but they get a lot more than they get wrong.
But why do we allow a strike zone to vary?
I think it's just essentially it's the human error. What I will say, though, Dan, is there is a buffer zone right now in AAA with the automated strike zone, which I do not think should be there. Because if it's automated, they don't need the inch border that essentially umpires in the big leagues get for their grading system, for the margin.
Plus, when you go out to argue with an automated strike zone, it's a little bit different. Like, will you be able to argue the same way when that umpire didn't call it? He's being told what to call. So you can't argue with anybody.
I want to see the first manager who tries to argue the automated strike call. It won't be me, I promise you that.
Explain to me. The Angels struck out 17 times last night. The Astros struck out 15 times. And it doesn't matter what teams I'm talking about here. They combined for 32 strikeouts. That's an American League record for 9 innings. Help me understand this. That, should you put it in play? Do you teach putting it in play, or I know I'm old and old school, but
I think the crux. You're old, but you like money, and you understand the value of the dollar.
Yeah.
And the industry does not value soft contact or base hits. That's just fact. Average isn't valued. Runs batted in isn't valued. Runs are not valued as far as compensating players. So on one hand, as a manager of a ball club, I value those things. We value them in our clubhouse. But it's hard to tell a player when the agent says you might as well try to go for a pump and hit a homer because that's what the industry values. I mean, it's something that it's so twisted, and we talk about it all the time within the game. But when a player talks to his agent, what's going to get you paid?
Man. I remember asking Alex Rodriguez why he didn't steal more bases. He said, once they start paying me to steal more bases, then I'll do it. And it feels like that's a lost art as well, that, you're not stealing bases.
That they don't compensate for stolen bases. They pay for play to be able to post and to take at bats and potential performance. And so again, this is something you and I agree with, and many in the industry do. But when you look at how players are trying to take care of themselves and families, I have some empathy towards that, and I don't agree with it, but I get it.
He's Dave Roberts, Dodger manager. Yeah, I just get bummed out because I can watch highlights and it seems like it's a great game. But if you sit at a game when everybody's going for the downs, there's no movement whatsoever. And that's been my biggest knock, is at least have movement. Take the extra base, move a runner over. But, I'm shouting and nobody's going to be listening to this anytime soon.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, that's the thing is that to ultimately, I think our club in the last few weeks has done a much better job of playing team baseball, situationally, moving guys over, taking the extra base, stealing bases, taking walks, and to win 11 games in October, you've got to be able to do that because the pitching gets considerably better, the scouting gets better. You got to be able to move the ball forward. Take walks when pitchers expand. So that's something that we're very mindful of because our goal is to win a World Series.
When you're looking at pitching now in high school or college, tell me how you scout now with a pitcher as opposed to what it was like when you were actually playing and what we expected from a starting pitcher. Has it changed that dramatically?
I don't think that's changed as much. You're still looking at body projectability. You're looking at arm strength. You're looking at mechanics to potentially look at long-term health. I think the guys back when I came up, there were guys drafted with pitchability and command, where that, for me, I just don't think is prioritized as much as just pure arm strength.
Yeah, because I wonder if Clayton Kershaw was coming out now, or Justin Verlander, would they be viewed?
Or Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, would they be viewed differently? That I don't need a workhorse, or we're not as reliant on these workhorses going 7, 8, 9 innings anymore.
I think so. Yeah, I do. Those guys. Adam Wainwright started the 6th inning with 105 pitches and. He's a workhorse, and as you said, Verlander, Kershaw, and when they came into the game, there were obviously a lot more complete games. People that were mentors for them, taught them a certain way, and the industry, I think, is kind of downshifted as far as expecting length of the starter, and the bullpen management. Multi-inning guy has been more of a commodity. But I do think that baseball is certainly trying to get back to the starter going deeper in a game because, yeah, when you're looking at probables and you see Kershaw, Verlander, that's exciting, and that's something that gets baseball fans tuned in.
All right, we're 10 minutes in. How would you sum up the Freddie Freeman weekend in Atlanta?
Overwhelming, exhausting, very fun.
What role did you play?
I played the intermediate friend, coach, media liaison, kind of a motivator to the team to keep us focused on trying to beat the Atlanta Braves.
How surprised were you about the emotion that hit him and sort of the fallout?
I wasn't. That's something that we had talked about months leading up to it. So that was just a culmination. And I thought the fans there in Atlanta handled it fantastic. The organization did a fantastic job. And for Freddie to finally get closure, he was having a heck of a year for us already, Dan.
Yeah.
But to have that closure, what he's done in the last month has been just, from that point on has been remarkable.
Was anybody bothered by it? Did you have to have discussions in the locker room? No one.
There wasn't. And I think, honestly, it's like there was a little something made of Clayton's tongue-in-cheek comment. But it's like that's something that if Clayton's going to say something, it's going to get blown out of proportion. And it wasn't at all. I mean, if there's any person that can understand being with an organization for your entire career through the minor leagues and to have to go back, it's Clayton. So, no, not at all.
Did you ever cry going back to a ballpark?
I have not. I do get received well going back to Boston and to Fenway, but I didn't shed a tear. But I can appreciate a person who can show his emotion and still go out there and throw out a couple knocks in a game.
Okay, but if you go back to Atlanta during the postseason, you have to have a conversation with Freddie to say, all right, there's no more tears. All right, one and done. You got your tears. Now you're a Dodger. Okay, let's go get him.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the tears he's all cried out. And I think that when he gets back, there won't be cheers for him anyway. There's going to be, if it's the NLCS or something like that, he's going to be received with some boos, I'm sure. Respectful boos.
Well, also, he's playing well. That was the thing. If that happened and he wasn't playing well, then I think the fallout might have been different. Like, dude, you're in a different zip code, a different uniform. Like, you got to start raking here. But he has been hitting as advertised.
He's done everything as advertised. On the field, off the field, he's absolutely done it.
How many people hitting you up for AllStar Game tickets?
Quite a few, but my complimentary tickets are all tapped out, so you're paying market value going forward. So I'm tapped out on the complimentary home run derby and tickets. So but it's a good number. It's a big number.
But have you had would you have a manager who might ask you to limit the amount of pitches that or limit the time that somebody's in there, a starter? Is that something that happens?
Oh, it happens. Oh,
okay.
yeah. That's a thing. I had the fortune of managing 2 All-Star games, and they call to try to either not pitch their pitcher or at least go one inning. So it's funny is that you get calls from Major League Baseball saying, oh, so-and-so can go 2, so-and-so can go 2, and then you get the call a couple days prior after you made the list of how you're going to use these guys. It says, yeah, my guy can only go 1, or can you keep him out of the game? And so there's a lot of that going on.
Great to talk to you again. Good catching up. Safe travels. Thanks for joining us.
All right, DP, take care. We'll talk soon.
That's Dave Roberts. He comes on. He never asked me to talk about his Red Stitch Cabernet. So he got 93 points from Wine Spectator. And he's had a couple of really good years there.